Hey everyone, welcome you all. So in the today's video, we will try to understand how we can work with GitHub Copilot. So very useful tool, especially for developers and automation testers. So let us see how exactly it will work. So what is GitHub Copilot? So GitHub Copilot is an AI powered code assistant, or in other words, we can say it is virtual assistant tool. Means what? Whenever you start writing some piece of code, it will gives you suggestions. It helps the developers by suggesting the code while they type. So as soon as you started writing some, let's say you want to implement certain method, or if you want to write some test, so it will automatically suggest the code. And it can also complete the functions, suggest old code blocks, and even generate new code based on comments. So for example, let's say you have just defined the method and it will automatically suggest the body of that particular method. So it can implement the whole block, and it is also even generate some new code based on the comment. Just we need to provide some comment, and based on that it is able to generate the new code automatically that we can integrate into your project. So how exactly GitHub Copilot works? Internally it use OpenAI Codex, which is again trained on billions of lines of public code. So accordingly, it will identify the context, what exactly you're going to develop or what exactly you're going to implement. And based on that, it will gives you suggestions. So that is all about GitHub Copilot. And this is also a tool comes under generative AI. So earlier we have interacted with the different LLMs like ChatGPT and DeepSeek and Google Gemini and so on. So where what we have done is we just provided some prompt and different prompts and we got a response. But what GitHub Copilot works, we can integrate this with your IDEs. Suppose if you're working with IntelliJ IDE or VS Code Editor or Eclipse. So whichever IDE you are currently using, you can integrate this GitHub Copilot within your IDE, and we can provide the prompts, or we can directly generate the code also. So that's how exactly GitHub Copilot works. Now, what are the advantages when I use GitHub Copilot? It saves a lot of time. Why? Because it suggests the code. So we don't need to type the lengthy code. Instead of writing lengthy code, GitHub Copilot will automatically gives you some piece of code, suggests the code, and that we can just review and do some customization, and we can use it. So that will save the time. Obviously, it will increase the productivity also. So whenever you do some task very quickly, so the productivity also will be improved, and also it works in the real time. Means what? Directly inside the editor. So as soon as you start writing the code, it gives a suggestion. So you no need to explicitly interact with LLM like ChatGPT or DeepSeek. So we can install GitHub Copilot plugin within your IDE, and it will directly present inside your editor itself. So that works in the real time. And multiple languages also it supports. It can understand different languages, most popular languages like Python, Java, JavaScript, and many more languages. Very helpful for the beginners, especially they don't know much about coding. Because they Copilot it automatically gives the code. Suppose you don't know how to implement the sorting algorithm or sorting technique. So you can just write a comment, implement so particular sorting technique. So the GitHub Copilot will automatically give the code for that. So you need to understand that code. If you need any modifications are required, you need to do that, and you can use it in your project. And it can easily understand your context based on the comments. So as soon as you provide some comment, the Copilot will automatically generate the code based on your comment. So that's how we can use GitHub Copilot. And when you come to the disadvantages also there, so the response or whatever code the GitHub Copilot is generated may not be correct always. So we need to review the code. We need to understand little bit. If there are any modifications are required, we need to do some modification. Then we can use it in very efficiently. And sometimes you may have security issues, especially when you're working with backend systems. Like it can suggest or generate some insecure code, especially that we need to review multiple times. And it completely depends on the trained data, whichever the data which is already having earlier. So totally depends on that. So new trending or new technologies or new things or new best practices cannot be understand by this GitHub Copilot. So if the training data is outdated, obviously suggestions also might not follow the modern best practices. So that is one limitation which we have in the GitHub Copilot, and privacy concerns also something new thing which we need to focus. Sometimes the users will worry about their code because especially some sensitive data will be developed or sensitive data might be there in their coding. So that is revealed by this GitHub Copilot sometimes. So that is another concern from the development side. So these are all some disadvantages which we have in the GitHub Copilot, and what exactly it will support, what kind of IDEs are support. As of now, it support Visual Studio Code, VS Code, NoVM, JetBrains IDEs like IntelliJ, PyCharm, etc., and Xcode from Apple. So these are all different IDEs currently supported. And if I go to this particular page, this is their official web page, Copilot features. And if you go through this particular page, you will understand what exactly it will support, what are the different plans it is offering. Like the new, suppose if you are a new student or if you want to explore the GitHub Copilot at the beginner, you can go with the free version for now. And other pro version, business, enterprise versions also offering. And these are the different IDEs or platforms where the GitHub Copilot will be supported, and these are the pricing information and everything is provided in their official web page. Okay, this is the basic understanding what exactly the GitHub Copilot is and how exactly it will work. So now let us see how we can use inside the IDE, how exactly it will help us while developing a code or while writing the test. So we'll see that in the practical part. So I will use IntelliJ IDE I'm start with, but initially GitHub Copilot is totally tested with VS Code editor, and later on it is started supporting with the different IDEs. But most of the times, especially Java developers or Python developers mostly use IntelliJ or IntelliBrain tools like PyCharm or IntelliJ IDE. So I'm starting with IntelliJ IDE. So later on, I will also explain how we can work with the GitHub Copilot with VS Code editor and Eclipse and any other editors. First, let us start with IntelliJ IDE. So what I'll do is I'll take IntelliJ IDE. This is my IntelliJ IDE, which is already installed. And I have already created a new project. This is simply a Maven project where we can write our Java code. And I'll try to start writing simple code. And let us see how exactly the Copilot will be used as a code generator, and how it is giving the suggestions, how we can incorporate this in our code, how it is able to fix the code, how it is able to create the documentation. So there are a lot of features are there. So we'll see one by one by taking simple example. But before using Copilot, GitHub Copilot inside this ID, we need to install a plugin. So GitHub Copilot is available as a plugin, so that we need to first install. So how to install GitHub Copilot plugin? It's very simple. So as soon as you have created some project, just go here and you can see settings. Go to the settings, and once you go to the settings, here you can see plugins section. So go to the plugin section. Inside the plugin section, here in the search box, you need to just search for GitHub Copilot. So as soon as you search for GitHub Copilot, you can see GitHub Copilot is already installed by me earlier. You can see it is already installed. But in your case, you will see the install button here. So once you click on this install button, then GitHub Copilot will be installed automatically. So this is the one thing you need to do. So once you have installed this GitHub Copilot, then you need to authenticate it. Until unless you authenticated with GitHub Copilot with your GitHub account, it cannot work. So once this is a prerequisite, we need to install this GitHub Copilot plugin inside your IDE. This is the first step. So once you have installed it, then we need to do authenticate. We need to authenticate. So here I have captured my screenshots. I have already installed. So let me just go through how exactly we need to authenticate GitHub Copilot inside the IDE. So this is my first screen. Just now I have shown you. So once you selected this GitHub Copilot, click on install. So once you started installation of GitHub Copilot, then you will see the screen like this. And we need to restart your IDE. So once you have installed GitHub Copilot, it will ask you to restart your IDE, which is IntelliJ IDE. Just click on restart IDE. So once it is restarted, then you will see once it is restarted, here you can see GitHub Copilot, and you will see some additional options. So what are those options? You can see here GitHub Copilot, and also you can see GitHub Copilot chart. There are multiple options you can see here. Previously you won't see these options. Once you have installed GitHub Copilot plugin, then only you will see these options. Even in the bottom also you can see it is currently saying ready. So when I click on it, it will show you the different options like log out from GitHub. So in your case, it will show you the login to GitHub because I already logged in to GitHub Copilot. So it is saying log out. There are multiple options it will show you here. Okay. And here also you can see GitHub. This is our project structure and everything. Right. So again, if you go back, once we have installed GitHub Copilot, again, if you go back and see settings in the plugins, you will able to see the GitHub Copilot, which is got installed. So Copilot, it is got successfully installed. Okay, this is how. So now how we can authenticate it. So that's a very important step. So as soon as you restart your IDE, so try to open Copilot chart. So like this. So here you can see the chart. So as soon as open the chart, as of now, it is straightforward. It is opening my chart. But first time when you opening this Google, GitHub Copilot chat box, it won't give you this messages and everything. It will ask you to authenticate first. So how we can do the authentication? This is the step. So it will give you this kind of a message. Copilot charts need additional authorization. So as soon as you click on this authorize, so then it will generate a device code from whichever device you are trying to access GitHub Copilot. From the device, it will generate the code. Just you need to copy this code and open this URL. Once you open this URL, and you need to paste this code like this. And once you paste this code, click on continue, and then it will ask you to authorize GitHub Copilot for JetBrains IDE. Basically, before doing all these things, you need to have a GitHub account, which is mandatory. So once you provided this code and continue, then it will ask username and password of your GitHub account. So you need to provide everything. And once you have done it, then you need to authorize GitHub Copilot for JetBrains IDE. Currently, we are trying to access GitHub Copilot for JetBrains IDE, which is IntelliJ IDE. So we need to click on this authorize. So once you click on this, now it will show you the congratulations message once everything is done. And then device activation. So once it is congratulations, it is done. So device activation is continue. Then once you come back and see your IDE chart box, it will open like this. So this is the final step. So if I go back and see the IDE, here you can see the chat box is open, and how can you help your message? You can see that. Okay, suppose if you want to log out from this, I already logged in. So if you want to log out, you can just click on from log out from GitHub. And next time if you want to log in, again, you need to log into this. So once you have login, then only you will see all the options which are available for GitHub Copilot. And currently the status is showing ready. So we can start using this GitHub Copilot. Now, so let me show you. This is actually chart box where we can provide the different prompts. And suppose there are some default commands also provided from GitHub Copilot. For example, let's say when I say slash here, all the commands are popping up. Suppose you already written some piece of code. If you want to get some explanation, simply say slash explain. Similarly, if you want to fix your code, say slash fix. Or if you want to get any other help, simply say slash help. And suppose there is some development code. For that, you need to create some test. Then you can say slash test. For documentation, slash doc. And to simplify the code, slash simplify. There are multiple commands are there. So you can directly give these commands, or else we can just write the prompt just like normally how we have written the prompt for LLM. So similarly, we can provide the prompt accordingly. It will generate the response. So this is a chart Copilot chart window, right? So how we can use this? So chart window, we can use it later. So let me just minimize for now. So what I'm going to do I'm going to show you how exactly it will generate the code automatically. How exactly it will help us at the time of developing the code. So what I'll do is I already created a simple project here, GitHub Copilot, and inside this SRC main, I will try to create a new test under this package. So currently pack 1 is empty. I'm just trying to create a new Java class. Just observe how exactly the GitHub Copilot is working. I'm just giving some name called calculator. As soon as you enter, it is just created a class. right? So now what I will do is inside this calculator, I want to add a different methods for addition, subtraction, multiplication, and a division. So the different methods I just want to add. So what I'll do is just observe the magic of this GitHub Copilot. I'm just writing some piece of code. You can see public int add, let's say int a comma int b. I just written a method. So as soon as you write simple a method, it will automatically suggest the code. So sometimes if the GitHub Copilot server is busy, you may not get the code suggestions directly here, or else it will automatically suggest the code. So whatever method, the body which we have created, you can see here, it is automatically trying to create. So when I say, let me write simple comment here and see how it is going to generate the method. So I can say just comment // see, as soon as you type // it is open the GitHub Copilot inline chat. So if the GitHub Copilot server is busy, you won't get any suggestions properly here. But if the server is active, then will automatically the suggestions are got created automatically. So here I'm just write a simple comment for writing a method for calculation. So I have created some prompts. So let me just open my prompt. So I can say create a Java class named calculator that performs basic arithmetic operations. Simply I'll provide this prompt and see how exactly it will work. Okay, let me remove this for now. So as soon as you type this comment, right, your Copilot, GitHub Copilot will automatically generate the codes. As of now, GitHub Copilot server is busy. So that's the reason it may not be able to generate your code. So in this case, what you need to do is you can simply copy this or generate your own prompt like this. So I have given the complete prompt here. And I'm asking create a Java class named calculator that performs basic arithmetic operations. The class should include the following methods. So add 2 parameters, subtract 2 parameters, multiply another 2 parameters, and divide 2 parameters. So I'm just giving this prompt and see how exactly it is going to generate. So as soon as you type this /, actually the Copilot will understand this. It should automatically generate the code. But for now, the server Copilot, GitHub Copilot server is busy, so it is not able to generate. So what we can do here, alternatively, we can just open this GitHub Copilot chat, and here you can simply provide the command / if you already code is written, but if you're not written any code, simply we provide the complete prompt like this and just execute this. And once you provided this prompt, now you can see GitHub Copilot is automatically generating the code like this. So it is generating the code just like a ChatGPT. So once it is generated, you can just copy this code and paste it into your editor, or there is another option called insert code block at cursor. So we can just place the cursor here, even remove this part. Just place the cursor wherever you want and then use this option. So here insert code block at cursor. Once you click on it, see the beauty, is automatically inserted the entire block here, right? So this is how we can use it. But without using this chat box also, just by passing simple comment, the code will be automatically generated sometimes, because that Copilot, GitHub Copilot should up and running. The server should be up and running. So then only the auto suggestions will work. Otherwise, we need to use this chat box. Okay. Now you can just minimize it for now. Now, this is the code which is got generated. Now let us see what is giving an error and everything. So giving the package name, calculator is a class name. This is a method, subtract, multiply, divide. So this is started point, ending point, and there is one more bracket is missing. I think this is opening and closing bracket, and this is a method, right? So this is a class, and it is giving some error. So highlight problems. Okay, so let us say this is the code which is got generated by Copilot. Now, how to fix that error? Suppose if there are any errors in this code, how exactly we can fix it? So simply select the code like this, and you can directly right click here and you can see GitHub Copilot options like simplify this, generate docs, generate test, fix this, explain this, and so on. So you can directly use this fix this option. Another way is you can open the chat box again, and here itself you can simply say by using slash you can give the command slash. When I say fix, it will automatically fix the code. This is another way. Okay, so I can say slash fix and see what exactly will happen. When I say slash fix, it is trying to fix the code. See, missing return statement in the divide method. So it is trying to fix it. So before this is a method, after it is changed like this. Now finally it is generating the code like this. So now what I can do, we can simply go and insert the code block at the cursor, or you can just copy this and replace this. Okay, so this is how we can simply go and create the code. So this is add method, subtract, multiply method, and if equal to 0, there is a return statement is missing. So again, this code is incorrectly given. See, because the integer return type is there, but here we haven't specified the any return type. So here we need to return type. So dividing method. So previously how it is got created. So this is how it is got created. So this is the right method. So just try to modify this. Okay. So this is how we can simply fix the code also. And also if I look at this particular class, there is no comments, there is no documentation, nothing. So how exactly we can add the documentation again? You can try from this chat box directly. You can simply say slash and you can use doc command, or else another way shortcut is we can minimize this chart and select the code and right click and go to GitHub Copilot and simply can say generate docs. And as soon as you've done this, it will automatically generating the doc. That means each and every method is having some comments. You can see the documentation is got created. For every method, the documentation is got successfully created. You can see once the documentation is got created, simply what we can do, we can replace this code. So again, just go up and you can simply, this is a method, right? You can simply say insert code block at cursor. Simply click on it. So now the entire code is got successfully replaced, right? So then you can just minimize this. So this is how we can also write the documentation, fix the code and everything. So for now, the auto suggestion is not properly working because the GitHub Copilot server is busy, or else as soon as you write a method, it will automatically add actually. So for example, let me try to add this. See public int adds, still it is not giving any suggestion, but it should give suggestion properly. So if your GitHub Copilot server is up and running, so it will give the suggestion properly. Okay. So this is how we can use Copilot while generating the code automatically. And also we can create the test methods. Suppose these are the methods, these add method, subtract, all these things, multiply, divide. So we can also test these methods properly by writing test-ng test methods. So how we can do that? So simple, select the code and right click here, go to GitHub Copilot, and there is a method, there is a command called generate test. So once you click on it, it will start generating the tests. Okay, click on it. See, it is started generating the tests. And basically it is using JUnit. And later, if you want, you can replace it with the test-ng. So you can generate the test in the test-ng style. If you want, you can simply generate it. So I can just simply copy them and can simply copy them and create another class. Let's say this is a calculated test, and this is also test, and where exactly generated. So here scroll down. So these are the actual tests which are called calculated tests. Let me create a new class under test Java. So new Java class. So this is the name I'm giving. So whatever the code which is got created, simply copy this and then paste it over here. Just copy this entire code and then paste over here. All right, so let's minimize it. So this is how we can simply write the tests also. Currently, this calculator class is part of SRC main Java pack 1. So this is a different package. So here it is giving an error. So we need to just import the class. Okay, so asset equals should import from in calculator test it is not there. I think this asset equals come from the JUnit. So as of now we don't have any JUnit in this editor plugin. JUnit plugin is not there, so it is giving an error. So otherwise, if I look at this, all the tests properly generated. So this is for adding two positive numbers, adding positive and negative numbers, subtract two positive numbers, and so on. So it is generated everything properly, right? So this is how we can use GitHub Copilot inside the IDE. There is another main use case, which is automatically generate the code, or it will automatically suggest the code. Sometimes it works and sometimes it may not work, and you need to cross check. Once the GitHub Copilot is available, server is up and running, then we can use that feature. Otherwise, we have to rely on this GitHub Copilot chat window. Okay. So this is all about GitHub Copilot for IntelliJ IDE. So later I will also show you how we can use this for VS Code editor, and even recently the plugin is released for Eclipse also. So I will also show you how we can use it with Eclipse. All right. So that's all for this video. Thanks for watching.